Today, we're talking about a technology that could eventually help discover new drugs, improve artificial intelligence, optimize global supply chains, strengthen national security, and solve problems that would take traditional computers thousands of years to complete. And the United States government just committed roughly $2 billion towards accelerating its development. And one company even received $1 billion itself. Two other smaller companies could potentially see an even larger impact if quantum computing becomes one of the next major technology revolutions. Today, we're going to discuss what quantum computing actually is, why governments are investing billions of dollars, and three companies investors should understand if the technology continues to advance. So, what exactly is quantum computing?
Past 80 years, all computers have worked basically the same way, a series of electrical circuits switching between off and on, 0 and 1. But that could be about to change. Quantum computing would enable exponential jumps in computing power, turning the entire industry on its head. And according to Microsoft's research lab, it could happen in the next 10 years. Where a conventional computer uses electrical circuits as bits, a quantum computer runs on quantum bits or qubits, tiny particles magnetically suspended in extreme cold, just fractions of a degree above absolute zero. The idea is to keep each qubit in a state of superposition, so it's simultaneously a 1 and a 0. That allows for something researchers call a quantum speedup. With the speedup, each qubit increases computing power exponentially. With enough qubits, that power starts to go really fast. It won't help much if you just want to check your email, but it lets researchers tackle complex problems like weather prediction or materials analysis that are still really difficult with conventional computing. Google and Microsoft are particularly interested. They've both formed quantum labs, hiring away a lot of the top scientists working on quantum computing. But that speedup isn't happening yet, or at least we haven't seen proof of it. A company called D-Wave is already making and selling quantum computers to different labs, including Google's quantum AI lab. But a lot of researchers say the computers can't actually demonstrate a quantum speedup. That means it is a quantum computer, but it's not good at any of the things we want quantum computers to be good at. Of course, D-Wave disagrees, but it's really hard to say who's right. It's one of the weirdest things about quantum computing. It might already be here, and we just don't know it yet.
So, to reiterate, traditional computers use zeros and ones. Every website, smartphone app, AI model, and video game ultimately relies on billions of these calculations. Quantum computers use something different called qubits. Without getting too technical, qubits can exist in multiple states simultaneously through a phenomenon known as superposition. So think of it this way. Imagine if you're trying to find the fastest route through a massive maze. A traditional computer may need to evaluate possibilities one at a time, to where a quantum computer can evaluate many possibilities simultaneously. That doesn't mean quantum computers replace traditional computers. Instead, they're designed to solve certain types of highly specialized problems. Potential applications include drug discovery, advanced materials research, artificial intelligence, logistics optimization, financial modeling, and national security. And this is where things start to get interesting. We spent a lot of time on this channel talking about artificial intelligence. AI is creating enormous demand for GPUs, electricity, optical networking, and data centers. And quantum computing takes a different approach. And for certain problems, quantum computers may be able to find solutions using dramatically fewer calculations than traditional systems. Imagine a pharmaceutical company testing billions of possible molecules in search of a new cancer treatment. Traditional computers may require enormous amounts of computing resources. A sufficiently advanced quantum system could potentially analyze those possibilities much more efficiently, and the result could be faster discoveries, lower computing requirements, and reduced energy consumption for specific workloads. This is one of the reasons governments are investing billions of dollars. They're not simply trying to build a faster computer. They're trying to build a fundamentally different way to solve extremely difficult problems. The United States is not the only country investing heavily in quantum computing. China is investing. Europe is investing. Governments view quantum computing as strategic technology. where much of the world's financial system, communications networks, and military infrastructure depend on encryption. Advanced quantum computers could eventually challenge some of today's encryption methods. And that means nations want to develop quantum capabilities before their competitors. So this isn't just a technology race, it's a national security race. And that's a major reason we're seeing billions of dollars being committed today. So before investors get too excited, it's important to understand that quantum computing remains extremely difficult. Many quantum systems operate at temperatures colder than outer space. Engineers must isolate these systems from heat, vibration, and electromagnetic interference. Even tiny disturbances can create errors. And that's why quantum computing today feels similar to the internet during the 1990s. People understood the technology had enormous potential. Very few knew which companies would ultimately become the winners. And that's exactly why investors are paying attention. So, first, let's start with the largest company and the most stable company in the space, IBM.
IBM unveiling its new Nighthawk quantum processor, one of the fastest computers in the world. Fox Business's Lauren Simonetti got an inside look at IBM's lab and the new technology that goes with it. Watch this.
This giant machine is a quantum computer. You can see it looks nothing like a regular computer or a classical computer, but it is being used to develop medicines, build better batteries, and even increase your financial performance.
You can think of it as kind of like a new computational tool that you didn't have before that can solve problems that you couldn't solve before. It is like sci-fi come to life.
Scott Crowder leads IBM's work in quantum technology. He helped develop its most powerful processor yet. I know what I'm holding is important because I had to put gloves on. What is this?
This is our new quantum chip or quantum processor called Nighthawk. It's about 30% more efficient than our previous generation.
It's housed in what looks like a giant refrigerator. How cold does it get in there?
So it gets 15 millikelvin. It's one of the coldest places in the universe.
Like colder than outer space?
Like 1,000 times colder than outer space.
And inside, what looks like a golden chandelier is actually the workhorse of the operation, sending signals to the powerful quantum chip located at the bottom where it's icy cold. The system is often linked to artificial intelligence, but AI teaches machines how to think. Quantum computing gives them a new way to think.
Quantum computing will probably help AI become more accurate in the future, but it's not replacing AI.
Companies are already using IBM's technology. Boeing for more durable planes, Moderna, more effective vaccines, and HSBC, better trading outcomes.
IBM received approximately $1 billion tied to this initiative, and that's roughly half of the total funding announced. IBM has spent years building quantum computing capabilities, and the company has developed quantum processors containing more than 1,000 qubits and operates one of the largest quantum research ecosystems in the world. IBM also plans to establish domestic quantum manufacturing capabilities, and that's a major reason the government selected IBM as a centerpiece of the program. For the advantage is simple: scale, experience, resources. IBM generates more than $60 billion in annual revenue. However, quantum computing is only one part of IBM's overall business. Even major breakthroughs may not dramatically impact the stock compared to smaller companies. The second company is Rigetti Computing.
Rigetti is a full stack quantum computing company. We're here to build the world's most powerful computers. We fab our own chips. We build all of the infrastructure inside the refrigerator, the dilution refrigerator. We build control systems and we build software around it. The fact that we do the full stack means that we have tight control over the tolerances and execution parameters of all pieces of the system. And as it turns out, that matters a lot for performance. So what we find is that by having that level of control, we can actually eke the most out of every part of the system into a functioning high-performance whole.
We were one of the first people to build a captive fab to do nothing other than make superconducting qubit chips. And we've learned a lot about both how to operate the facility, what kinds of tools and materials to use, but most importantly, how to integrate it into the way we do R&D amongst the physicists and the other engineers in the company.
Unlike IBM, quantum computing is essentially the entire business. Rigetti develops superconducting quantum processors and cloud-based quantum computing services. This is what investors often call a pure play opportunity. Because Rigetti is much smaller than IBM, government contracts, technological breakthroughs, and commercial adoption could have a much larger impact on the company. Of course, that comes with significantly higher risk. Rigetti remains an early stage company competing against some of the largest technology companies in the world. Investors are essentially betting that quantum computing becomes commercially successful over the next decade. And if that happens, companies like Rigetti could potentially benefit far more than established technology giants.
Stock still up roughly 2,000% over the last year, though, amid this excitement over quantum computing and the AI boom. Joining us this morning in a CNBC exclusive is Rigetti CEO Subodh Kulkarni. Subodh, welcome back. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I wonder how, I hope you won't mind me asking how you recommend investors value the shares right now, given you're a $10 billion market cap and with minimal revenue. How do investors begin to establish what the shares are truly worth?
Well, if you're an investor in quantum computing, you have to be thinking long term. You have to be thinking that quantum computing is fundamentally going to change computing. We are going to make computers that are a million or even a billion times faster than your conventional computers today, and also consume a fraction of the energy that your conventional computers consume today. And you know the discussions going on about energy and computers are closely interlinked with each other right now. So the excitement about quantum computing is significantly faster speed at a significantly lower energy. And you have to think long term. Right now, we are very much in the R&D stages. We are still perfecting the technology. We are nowhere close to saying we are ready to take on conventional computing. So as an investor, if you are willing to think long term, if you are willing to think big picture, quantum computing is the game for you. But if you're thinking short term and you're thinking this quarter or next quarter, really this is not about it. It's about R&D at this stage.
Right.
The third company we're going to talk about is D-Wave Technology.
This is a landmark occasion for D-Wave and for quantum computing. Our D-Wave quantum computer has solved an important real-world problem remarkably better, faster, and with greater energy efficiency than possible with a classical computer. It's the first demonstration of computational supremacy on a useful problem. The problem was in the area of material simulation. This proves that D-Wave quantum computers are now capable of solving useful problems beyond the reach of classical computers. This is what everyone working in quantum computing has aspired to do for decades, but hasn't been able to achieve until now. Our Advantage 2 annealing quantum computer solved a complex material simulation problem in 20 minutes. Not only did our system solve this problem much faster than a classical supercomputer, but it did so using just 12 kilowatts of energy. That same problem would require well over the world's annual energy consumption on a GPU cluster. It's a remarkable achievement. The exploration of new materials is a computationally complex and expensive task. Today's GPU clusters and supercomputers just don't have the computational processing power to solve these problems in a timely or energy-efficient manner, making materials discovery a vital area of research for D-Wave and the quantum industry.
D-Wave focus heavily on real-world optimization problems. Imagine a delivery company managing thousands of trucks every day, and the company wants to reduce fuel costs, shorten delivery times, and improve efficiency. Those calculations become incredibly complex. This is exactly the type of challenge D-Wave's technology is designed to solve. Other examples include airline scheduling, supply chain management, manufacturing optimization, and transportation routing. While many quantum companies remain focused primarily on future possibilities, D-Wave is already working with commercial customers to solve practical business problems. And that makes it one of the more interesting stories in the space.
Up 27% today after the administration announced it will invest $2 billion in quantum companies in exchange for equity stakes in an effort to boost the industry. D-Wave received a $100 million equity investment. Here now with more is D-Wave Quantum CEO Alan Baratz. Alan, it's great to see you. Welcome.
Thank you, Kelly, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Why did the government need to get involved here? The retail investors were perfectly happy to bid up your shares.
Well, this is really about the government and quantum computing companies forming a partnership to help drive quantum innovation and leadership for the United States. In the case of D-Wave, it represents a significant endorsement by the US government in our company, as well as both our annealing and our gate model quantum computing products, and will accelerate the time for us to bring scaled versions of those products to market by several years.
How much are you getting from them? $100 million?
$100 million.
Now, listen, I wouldn't mind $100 million myself, but I'm just truly wondering, how much difference does $100 million make to your company and to that timeline?
Well, look, we are the oldest quantum computing company. We were founded almost 20 years ago. Over the course of the last 20 years, we've been able to bring our annealing quantum computers to market to the point where today they are commercial, in use by a broad array of companies as a part of their business operations. It took us 20 years to get to this point, and it took us on the order of $500 million to get here. Now, $500 million to get here, that's not a ton of money. Now what we are doing is scaling our annealing products and working to bring our gate model products to market. So if you think about it, on the gate model side, $100 million as a 20% or 25% uplift is very significant.
So there may be another opportunity investors aren't discussing enough: quantum infrastructure. Think about artificial intelligence. Many of the biggest winners weren't AI companies themselves. Instead, investors saw huge gains from semiconductors, data centers, optical networking, power infrastructure. Quantum computing could create a similar ecosystem. Potential beneficiaries may include companies involved in advanced semiconductors, cryogenic cooling systems, quantum networking, manufacturing equipment. And just as AI has created an entire infrastructure build out, quantum computing could eventually create another. So the United States government just committed roughly $2 billion towards quantum computing. IBM received the largest allocation. Rigetti offers leveraged exposure to the industry, and D-Wave may be the most interesting commercial quantum computing companies in the market today. It might be the most interesting commercial quantum computing companies in the market today. And the government isn't investing billions because quantum computing is already mainstream. It's investing because leaders believe this technology could become strategically important over the coming decades. The question isn't whether quantum computing is interesting. The question is whether it eventually becomes as transformative as the internet, smartphones, or artificial intelligence. And if it does, some of today's quantum computing companies could look very different 10 years from now.